The Football Championship is one of the most impossible leagues to predict, but let's try and do it. So in first spot, it'll be Swansea. I think Swansea were unlucky not to get promoted last season. Obviously, the season before that as well, they were unlucky to get knocked out in the playoff spots. Defensively, they've been very good over the last couple of seasons, but it's just that attacking threat that they've been lacking in the later part of the season, and even the early part of it as well. I think if they can add some more goals to their team, they'll be very dangerous next season. Second will be Bournemouth. Bournemouth are an interesting team because they did start the season well, then they fell away last season, and then they came back again. They seem to start games well in the early part of it, so in the first half they'll be very good, or the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then they sort of drop off. I'm not sure why this happens. I just think that maybe the team just runs out of steam, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's only, 10, 15 to 20 minutes that they're dominant and they drop off. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think they're a very dangerous team and they'll get automatic promotion next season. In third, it'll be Fulham. I think Fulham could potentially come back straight into the Premier League next season. Obviously, their Premier League campaign last season was disappointing. They didn't do too much, but I think Scott Parker has this team really well drilled, and obviously it seems like he knows how to navigate this league. They won't get automatic promotion, but they'll make the playoff spots and give themselves a good chance of going up. Fourth will be Cardiff. I thought Cardiff were disappointing last season. Obviously, they didn't have a poor season, but they didn't make the playoffs, which I think they should have done. Obviously they have a decent team and they can cause some trouble. Next season will be better than last season and they'll make the playoffs. In fifth spot will be Reading. Reading were one of the best teams in the early part of the season. Of course, they were top of the league and they were really flying at one point. Obviously, things dropped off after a while. They didn't do as well as they did in the early part of the season. I think next season they could replicate that early start, and I think they could potentially carry it on for a bit longer. The only reason why Reading didn't make the playoffs last season is because Barnsley had an unreal run and they knocked them out of the playoff spots. So this time around, they'll make it. In sixth position, I've got Queen's Park Rangers. Now, I'm not sure why I put Queen's Park Rangers to make the playoff spots. I think one of the reasons why is because they're not exactly a bad team, but they're not a great team either. They're somewhere in between. And I just feel like they could probably maybe edge one of those spots. I think they're a decent team. Obviously, they can lose badly, but they can also win well as well. So there's those two extremes. And I think they might just do it next season. Obviously, Barnsley won't make the playoff spots because I just feel like it'll be hard for them to replicate what they did last season. Obviously, last season was unreal, so it's going to be hard for them to be able to do that again, and I think they won't make the playoff spots next season. And that's about it.